I'm just going to say hello and welcome to folks who are on the line today from our Aspire, our Dream, and our Prep programs. Once again, this is Kate Marin from the Department of Small and Local Business Development, and we are so glad that you could join us for our fall, I'll call it fall, it's almost fall, Speakers Bureau series. Today we have a speaker as part of the Speakers Bureau, Rylinda Rhodes, who has been through both the Aspire and Dream programs. Also a Made in DC business. I'm gonna let her do all of those introductions and all of those different pieces. But as part of this, we are gonna have a Q&A session today. And so I'll be walking Rylinda through some different questions. I don't think I'll have to ask a lot of questions. She's got a lot of really great story to share. But the topics for today are around the topics of self-care, mental health, and pivoting. But what I'll do is I will turn things over to Rylinda to give an introduction, and then we'll jump back into Q&A. If you are here on the line, please feel free to say hello in the chat. Please feel free to... Rylinda, can you hear me? Okay.
No.
Good. Do you want to tell folks a little bit about you and a little bit about Main Road?
Absolutely, absolutely. Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rylinda Rhodes, the proud owner and founder of Rhodes Soap and Wellness, where we make beautiful soaps and body care products specifically to bring awareness to mental health. It is my beautiful creation of violence interruption. You know, we are residents here in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to get involved. I wanted to find an innovative way to talk about emotional intelligence, to create trigger action plans to help us manage our self-care and our mental health so we could be the healthiest people that we are on this planet. As Kate said, I am a We Aspire alumni. I won We Aspire. I was first place winner for We Aspire in 2021. And then the following year, I participated in the Dream program, and I was the first place winner for Ward 8. Hey, Ward 8. Very exciting time. DSLDB is such a great resource to small business owners, as well as people that are interested in creating a small business. There's no reason that if you go through DSLDB and you follow the processes, you listen to what's going on, and you utilize the resources, that you cannot be successful. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm a Ward 8 small business, and I'm just excited to be here and share my knowledge with you guys to inspire you, to encourage you, and to tell you that you got this, you could do this. I know that sometimes it can be scary, but let me tell you, you are at the right place at the right time with the right people, and it can be done.
Rylinda, thank you for that introduction. And I'd love to ask you a couple more questions about the business itself before we get into some spaces about business ownership and entrepreneurship. But where can folks find your products?
Well, absolutely. I love that question. So please feel free, and that's a teachable moment, ladies and gentlemen. In my introduction, I failed as a business owner to say where you can find my products. And I have to remind myself on a daily basis when I'm out in the community to always be ready to pitch, to always be ready. So Kate, thank you for circling back and asking me that question. So you can find my products at www.mainroads.com. I have a website you can purchase online. I'm also at the Femme Fatale store uptown in Wisconsin Avenue. And then you can also find me at the Southwest Market on Saturdays at 4th and M Street Southwest.
Thank you for that.
You're
Make sure that you check out some of those great soaps. And then are you mostly soap right now? What is the range of products?
So no, I have probably about 7 different products. So I do soap, I do body butter, sugar scrubs, and shimmering oils. I also make natural hair care products. As y'all can see, I'm a Sister Lock girl, and so I don't put anything in my hair unless it's Main Roads product. So I have a small hair care line where I make natural shampoo, conditioner, and a detangler. And then I also have a scalp and moisturizing oil because with Sister Locks, my hair and scalp gets dry quite often. And oftentimes the products that they have in the store, they have so many additives and chemicals that it reacts to my skin and my scalp. And I wanted to make something that was healthy and natural and something that was biodegradable. So yeah.
Love it. Thank you. I think edging towards some of our topics, I'd love to ask you a little bit about business planning, the sort of mindset that you take towards business planning, and then towards the space of, when the plans don't work out. What are some tips, advice, or ideas that you have to share on both of those?
Well, I would love to share that when I first became a entrepreneur, a business owner, of course, oh my God, I was overloaded with so much information. I had so many ideas, so many thoughts. This is your baby. You're so passionate about it. So you're going to have so many thoughts about how to manage it, how to run it. My first year, let me tell you, oh my God, I was making soaps for all the holidays. I was making soaps for all the occasions. And literally 3 years later, I still have a bucket full of full of seasonal soaps. I still have Christmas soaps, Halloween soaps, things of that nature. And so what I would advise first on is to really take your time and figure out specifically what you want to do. You're so passionate about this business and you have so many different ideas. You really have to hone in and master a few of those ideas and make those your baby. The other things can be, so I had short-term goals, which were typically from 30 to 90 days. Then I had some midterm goals that are usually 90 to 6 months, 180 days. And then I had, that's how I did mine. Some people do 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, but I did 90 days, 90-day increments because that really worked for me. So what it is, you have to find what works for you. You will see a lot of people around you. You will participate in a lot of accelerators, and you have to focus and take specifically what you need. It's a buffet. You don't have to fill your plate with everything. There is enough time to go back to the table and to pick something else up. So my advice would be to hone in your ideas of what it is that you specifically want to do. And then those bigger ideas, you can section them off in the next 6 months or the next year. And it helps you with your self-care because you don't become overwhelmed. You don't become overstimulated. You don't start having this self-doubt that, oh, I should have did this. I should do this. I should be here. I should be there. No, this is your journey. This is your ride. This is your baby. There's more than enough time. You haven't run out of time. You haven't run out of space. You're exactly where you're supposed to be in the space that you're supposed to be. And now you get to master that and you get to do that at your own pace, at your own level. So that's the advice that I would give to people, to be organized or strategic about their ideas and their innovation. Hone into one or two or three things that they specifically want to do at that time. Get those things done and make a list and a plan for the other things 3 months after that, 6 months after that, or a year after that. You get to fine tune your recipe of how you want to do this entrepreneurship journey.
I love that. I love that. And it reminded me, Raylinda, you have a very strong why for why you are running this business. And it's one that you share frequently. I was wondering if not only could you share that why, but a little bit about how how you were able to come to deciding what your why was.
That's a very good question. So my why is because I'm a lover of humanity. My why is because I experienced trauma at a very young age up until my adulthood, and I was lost for a long period of time, unable to manage my mental health and my self-care, which affected me and my loved ones around me. And then as I looked at the world, I realized that I wasn't in this alone, that there are so many other people that are dealing with these things, emotional intelligence, trauma, trying to figure out triggers and how to manage that. I'm a resident of Washington, D.C. There's so many people that are dealing with so many emotional situations, whether it be unresolved mental health issues, maybe it's trauma, maybe it's environmental. And I wanted to be an active participant in changing that trauma to triumph. Being able to overcome life woes. I experienced sexual trauma at a very young age. As a matter of fact, I was an entrepreneur at 12 years old. I tell this story quite often. I was 12 years old with three revenue streams. I had a newspaper route. I was a neighborhood babysitter, and I sold mangoes. And one of my employers sexually assaulted me, and that it pivoted my empire. It put it on pause for a little bit. And I had to do a whole lot of work, a self-discovery, managing my emotions and my triggers, managing PTSD and what that looked like and how I showed up in the world. So that was my why, looking around and seeing other people suffer the same way that I was suffering. And as I mastered my own health and got better, I found a recipe in a way that worked for me. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to inspire anybody, any human being that is dealing with any kind of woes or mental health disabilities or just dealing with self-care and trauma, and one, giving hope, letting you know that it doesn't matter what happened, you are here, you still exist. And at the point that you're breathing, you can make another choice, another decision, and you can take control of your life. So I wanted to be the example of what that looked like. And so I started you making soap as just I have a child that suffered with eczema. He's 33 now, but I had a child that suffered with skin conditions, eczema. He had he used to get boils quite often. And so I started formulating recipes to give my child some relief because I got tired of going to the doctor, got tired of sending him to the hospital so he can get boils lanced. And they're extremely painful. And there's, I don't care. They were giving him morphine at like 14 and 15 years old because it was so painful to lance these boils. And so remember what my grandmother and my grandparents did. They're both my mom and my dad parents are both from the South. They're both from North Carolina. And I remember visiting my grandmother and she going out in the woods and going in her kitchen and making up salves and the love and the care of um, putting that on us, the love and care of her actually creating that. And I did the same thing for my son. And as I did that and he started healing and getting better, I realized that not only did I make natural properties that could help with your hair, your skin, but it made me feel good. The smells, the textures, looking at the colors, it evoked something in my emotions. I found myself finding peace. I found myself finding ways to manage situations when I was triggered. And so just one day it just came to me, wash on, wash off. Karate Kid, wash on, wash off. So I was like, I can scrub off those negative thoughts because oftentimes I don't know about any of you guys, but when I'm managing self-care, the shower in the bathroom will be where I am. And not just because it was a spa, but because it was a quiet place where I can go in and cry out my woes without anyone seeing. And standing in that shower, I realized I can wash off these negative thoughts, these feelings, and I could wash on positive thoughts and feelings. I could change the way that I thought. I could retrain my brain. And most importantly, I created this because I am a victim of violence. I'm a survivor of domestic violence where I killed my abuser and I went to jail and lost custody of my children and I had to fight for my life. And I refuse to let that trauma, those triggers, and all that negativity reside in me any longer. I was going to find a way to not regurgitate my hurt and pain on other people around me and take responsibility and accountability for who I am. And soaps and body butters did that. I was able to create Racing Thoughts, which is my number one soap. And again, ladies and gentlemen, write this down. I prepared for this webinar and I left the whole tray of soap and demonstration in the other room. So this is a tip. I'm being very honest and transparent. Even after 3 years, I'm still learning and mastering being an entrepreneur. And guess what? I'm going to be kind to myself. I do wish I had these soaps here to display and show you at this moment, but that's okay because you can go to my website at www.mainroads.com and you will see all my beautiful soaps that I'm speaking about right now. But Racing Thoughts was my first one, and it depict what my brain looks like when I'm in crisis and how I can be kind and gentle to myself because my brain does comprehend and do things different because of trauma. And I could be patient. And if I could be patient with myself, then that means that when someone cuts me off in traffic, I don't have to give them the finger. I could be patient with them because I showered with bat shit before I left the house, which is scented with Yingling, which when I smell, it lowers my heart rate. It smells amazing. My skin gets cool. I'm not hot. I'm not triggered. And it's just a tangible thing that I could do to be mindful to keep myself safe and other people safe. So when I say a beautiful creation of violence interruption, that's exactly what I'm talking about because I was taught violence and I want to unteach violence. I want to say that when someone hits you, I don't have to hit them back. I don't have to go low. I can go high. I take responsibility of my actions and how I feel, and I can give them a pass and walk away. We don't have to be violent to one another. We can manage these emotions. So that's my why.
And Linda, that is such a beautiful story, with all of the ups and the downs, and the continuing to move up. I would love to spend a few more minutes, on the notion of self care as an entrepreneur. You've mentioned a few different ways of thinking about it. Being kind to yourself, really giving yourself that schedule, setting your goals in that way. But when you think about self care as an entrepreneur, what what comes to mind to you? What is important for folks to take away?
The first thing is that this is your baby. You're an entrepreneur because you had an idea, you wanted to fix something, make something better, you saw a problem, and you are the one that's going to solve that problem. So that's the first thing. You're amazing. We forget that when we're solving problems. So you have to embrace the fact that you are amazing all by yourself, just in the courage of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are special people. We're problem fixers. We are people that see people and see things and want to find a better way, not just for ourselves. We're not selfish. We're very giving. So that's why self-care is very important. So one, just knowing that you are amazing and doing what it is first. The second thing is, not only is this your baby, but you must be responsible for your baby. It's just like if you had a pet or a child. You're not going to let anyone play with your baby. You're going to nourish this. You want to see it grow. So then that means it's your responsibility to decide who you're going to let in, what information you're going to let in, what your circle's going to be. As an entrepreneur, you want to find your people. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of accelerators, a lot of financial institutions, nonprofit organizations, your mother, your father, your daughter who goes into your closet and keeps taking your product out, but it hasn't put that money in that account. All of these, all of these things are self-care. I tell her that's for sale product. I will specifically make product for you that is not labeled and packaged that you can use. These are self-care techniques that you have to use. You have to set boundaries with yourself and your business opportunities as well as the people that surround you. Self-care means if you don't take care of yourself, then how is your business going to grow? Because oftentimes we are solo entrepreneurs when we first start, and we are everything. We are the founder, we are the creator, we are the salesperson, we are the IT person, we're the project manager. You have to give yourself room, one, to know that it can get overwhelming. There are a lot of things to do, but you can take care of yourself in the process, which kind of leads me into the pivoting because, as I stated, I have a whole container of holiday soaps because I'm on social media, I'm at accelerators, and someone is like, oh, they give this idea and this thought, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that is a great thought. I didn't think about that. Oh, my goodness. And then I'm looking at other soap businesses and what they're doing. And in my mind, I'm thinking that I need to do what they're doing and I'm trying to stay relevant. And I had to take a breath and I had to say, oh no, baby, Rylinda, this is Main Rhodes Soap and Wellness. You get to decide what this is. So instead of having 20 or 30 bars of soap, I decided, nope, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to master my 10 main soaps. And my 10 main soaps, I can make those holiday soaps. That is very practical because you're going to want to start making practical decisions because one, we don't get a lot of funding. You have to be responsible with the money and the funding and the opportunities that you get. So you want to be very mindful and strategic about how you're moving your business. And don't let everything that comes your way and you see on social media and your friends and you're at the market. Nope. Pause, take a deep breath, remember exactly who you are and what specifically it is that you want. And then what you do is you go right back to those goals, you pull those goals out, you look at them, and you remember and you refocus on what it is that you want to do so you can stay focused because things out there will distract you. So that's what I would say is self-care for entrepreneurship.
You were dropping so many gems. I'm trying to figure out what is the best next thread. One thing I will say is if you are on the line, if you have a question for Rylinda, please feel free to drop it in the chat or to raise your hand. Have to have you come off of mute. Um, I did want to ask a question, Rylinda, and you sort of referred to this in a couple of different ways. But one of the things that we always encourage folks in both programs to do, and particularly folks who are in Dream, is figure out how to talk about the money and figure out how to talk to yourself about the money.
You better.
And just it is hard. Access to capital is hard. Being able to keep up with all the bills is hard. Any advice or thoughts on how to think about the
My
money?
God, I could think of so many things. I kept saying, Rylinda, sell the soap. You can't keep giving everything away. Sell the soap. Get the money. Literally, if any, none of you in here probably may have seen me pitch. When I pitch and I go into the room, I tell them, I came to get the money. Where's the money? I put that right out front because I used to be very uncomfortable about that. Just because of environmental, how I grew up, being entrepreneurs, like I said, who are often caretakers, we're problem solvers. So a lot of times we're focused on solving the problem and fixing the issue, and that's a gratification for me. It was gratification for me engaging with my customers and talking to them and seeing the light comes on when they remove the shame and they could say, I cut sometimes. I've had customers after I engage them, they will be very transparent because I create that environment where it's open and that they're seen and they'll share things like that. And I'll forget to sell the soap, or, I can find myself because I'm so excited about the connection that I may have given the soap. I'm like, Rylinda, you have to make the money, baby. Like, I know that you love doing this, but we're not doing this for free. If my soap is the byproduct. Of course, the message is more about the self-care and how we manage ourselves and emotional intelligence. And I had to remind myself, you can't give it away. Your business is not gonna grow. So I had to stop giving product away. I had to make my family and friends pay me. And I would just simply say, hey, are you gonna Cash App, Apple Pay, or I take cash? When they're like, oh, do you have this, that, and the other? I absolutely do. I have it in 4 ounce, I have it in 8 ounce. This is the price, and how would you like it delivered? So I started reframing how I would communicate about finances and money. And then I just really had to look at it because if, as an entrepreneur, if I want my business to grow, then I have to be realistic and I have to ask for what I need, which is another self-care technique, not just for your personal life, but as an entrepreneur. You have to ask for what you need. You have to ask for what you need. You are everything in your space. The universe made you exactly how you are. There will never, ever be another one of you, ever. And you do not want to live in regret. You stand up, put that chin up, and you ask for what you need, no matter how small or how big it is. Because if you don't, what is the purpose? You're doing an injustice to yourself. You're doing an injustice to your potential customer. So you got to ask for the cash. And more than that, you got to understand your numbers. I'm going to tell you, I was very intimidated about the numbers. And I had, what I did, one, I had to take deep breaths. And I had to be very honest and transparent with myself and say, Rylinda, when it comes to math and numbers, I get extremely anxious. Like even right now, I get a little goosebumps, but that's okay. I allow myself to feel that. I embrace that. And then I develop a small plan that works for Rylinda. I do it in small sections. I watch videos. I ask questions after questions, and I utilize my resources 3 and 4 years later. Kate will tell you she will get an email or text from me. I could be in Timbuktu, like, hey, I'm having this barrier. How do I manage this? Do you know someone that could help with that? Again, going back to asking for what it is that you need and understanding what your limitations are and what your barriers are, and that is okay. Those limitations, the things that you don't know, the things that you don't feel as strong in, you be transparent about those things. You put them on Front Street and you find a way to create a recipe to help you get over those things. And so I started working with an accountant to help show me how to manage my QuickBooks. I took a lot of classes online and webinars to help me to understand profit and loss and profit margins because there was a lot of language that I did not understand. And I had to be kind to myself and say, it's okay, I didn't learn those things. I don't know those things. I know everything about the soap. I could tell you how to make soap body butter from beginning to end, close my eye. But the things that I was intimidated by, I told myself, I will no longer be afraid. I will do the scary thing. The scary thing is numbers. I'm going to do that scary thing. And I do it in doses, like salt. I do it in doses. And when it gets too intimidating, I just take a breath, I step to the side, and then I come back and I try it again. I will not let anything be a barrier or stop me when I have a mouth that I can ask and figure out how to get it done.
Linda, I've been dropping a lot of your quotes in the chat, and folks have been mentioning back also how incredibly powerful this is. I know since it's a panel of one, I don't want to keep you too long. I could keep asking you questions all day, and it'd
And
be
I could be here dropping gems all day because that's who I am innately. I'm gonna tell you another thing for self-care, which is a tip. The thing that I'm great at, I decide to make that my business. My gift is encouragement, inspiring, um, and seeing people as well as seeing myself. And I realized that was my thing. So I made my thing part of my business because it's natural to do. It just flows. Each and every one of you have natural abilities and skills that just naturally flow with you. Be that, do that, use that. And then the things, like I said, that are your weaknesses or barriers, we embrace those too. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in any barrier, shortcoming, something that you don't know. And I'm going to say to you guys, I suffer with bipolar depression and PTSD. I have racing thoughts, especially with my PTSD. I'm doing so much better today than I was in the past because I've developed different plans to help me to do so because I wanted to be the best version of myself. But with that, I had to realize that there are times that are scary and this, that, and the other. And I had to learn how to communicate in a way that would get people to see me and hear me. And I teach people how to treat me. I know that I can get overstimulated and overwhelmed when, maybe, I'm going somewhere and I'm not really used to what's going to happen. I don't know, they say it's going to be ABC, but I get there and it's D, E, and F. And that kind of takes me, it takes me back. So I take a breath, I get myself recentered, and then I ask those questions. Or I'll simply say, hey, I don't understand it in the language that you're speaking. I need you to speak it in a language that I can understand. And if you're not the person that's capable of doing so, can you direct me to someone that can? That angst is there. Hey, I did not understand profit margin. Oh my God, I was pitching and they've asked me questions in the past, but trust me now, I mastered it. I went and learned it. I made sure that I can comprehend it. I found someone that could communicate it to me in a language that my brain could respond to. Because, like I said, I have PTSD, so I only have enough brain space for a certain amount of information that could come in. I know this about me because I'm very transparent and I pay attention. I'm mindful to myself. I realize I can get overstimulated. So I give myself room. And once I know that that box is starting to fill up, then I can take a breath and I can step back, or I can say, hey, I need a moment uh, to digest this information. And if I don't comprehend it, I don't have any shame in saying, hey, I didn't comprehend what you said. I don't understand it in the way that you're communicating it. Can you communicate it in another way?
Beautiful. I have one last question I'm burning to ask you, and then wrapping up. But Rylinda, one of the things that you've mentioned is that you're often pitching. As you start to look at what are some of the accelerators and other programs that are available. This question is around speaking about your business and networking. And I know sometimes when folks are early in sort of the pitch programs and other spaces, they're a little nervous about speaking about their business. But any advice that you have for anyone at any stage about speaking about their business, finding places to speak about their business, and networking?
Yes. I just want to circle back to one thing before I answer this question. And we were talking about funding and capital. You want to find several different funding opportunities. So, of course, I apply for grants, I apply for loans and things like that, but I also do pitches, I also do speaking engagements. So you can find different ways to bring revenue to your business, not only by whether it's a service that you offer or a product that you offer. So we have to be innovative and thought-provoking when we're thinking about capital and ways to get capital. Don't be scared. There's ways to find that money. So I want to just say that. Now, going back to what you said, it all just circles back. If you notice, everything that I do just circles right back into who I am and what my business is. Self-care, taking care of myself and managing those things. So one, because of self-care and who I am and the responsibility I have as a business owner and my message, I have to be responsible and accountable to myself. So I have to know my business. I know my business in and out. So when someone comes and asks me a question, I'm ready to answer that question. And it gives you confidence. You already know this thing. It gives you confidence. And if there's something that you don't know, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'll get back with you about that. So the confidence in knowing your business, it relieved a lot of my anxiety and stress when I'm ready to go and talk to people about my business, or I'm ready to pitch about my business. It's about one, you need to know your business. You cannot be pretending about what this is, because who are you? I mean, where's the integrity in what it is that you're doing? So that's the first thing. The second thing is finding techniques, one, knowing what it is that bothers you. Like me, what it was mostly the numbers. It was always, I knew my pitch deck in and out. I knew my business in and out, but I knew that I was going to get questions about funding and numbers and what that looks like and projections. So again, my weakness, my barrier. So I had low confidence in that. But when I started to master that and understand that, then I had more confidence. And then when I got in there, I just would always take a deep breath and look around and would give myself self messages. We are here on the same accord. We're here with the same thought, the same process, and these are my people. And I came to get the money. And oftentimes I get the money. I went to an event, it was with Wakeif maybe about 2 months ago. I got off work. The event happened. I didn't get selected to pitch. We had to do an application process. I didn't get selected to pitch, but in the fine writing, there was a message that said that we will take runner-ups. Please still submit your stuff because we may take runner-ups. So I got off work. I sent my pitch deck. I went in. I had no plans to pitch. And they called me and told me that I could pitch. And I told them, I said I was going to get that money. That's my money. I spoke it into existence and I got up there and I didn't win first prize, but I won $1,500. That's another $1,500. That's more raw material for my business. That's more revenue that I could use for advertising and things of that sort. So the key is to know your business, be confident in what it is you don't know, be confident in things that you're weak about, and know that this is your baby and can't nobody communicate or talk about it the way that you can because you're the one that know it. So that's how you do it. You know, there's going to be nerves, but the more confident you are, once you start to speak, that's going to go right out the door.
Rylinda, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, for sharing not only about your business, but about your business journey. So many beautiful things. I just want to appreciate you so much. Appreciate everyone who's been on the line. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up. So,
No questions?
if folks have questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat or raise your hand. I've been watching, but I haven't seen any come in.
Yeah,
There've been some congratulations in the chat and some
you.
comments on this being a powerful.
That's all right. I'm sending all these positive vibes to you guys because this is going to be you as well. The same way that I did it is the same way that you could do it. I started with $600 and, I went and bought some raw materials and I made product and I put it in the trunk of my car and I started going around the city offering my products. And that's how that happened. And I just kept showing up. I kept showing up, finding my circle, my people, and finding what worked for me. I just kept showing up and I refused to quit.
Oh, I gotta write one more in the chat. There have been some great thank yous in the chat as well, and thank you for all of the time.
Well, it was my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you well. Oh my God, you're about to have so much fun. I know it's going to be work, but you can do it. And you just have to ask yourself, what's up? Like, is this what you want? If it's what you want, then go get it. Thank you guys. Have a good afternoon. Bye, Kate. Bye, everyone. Mainroads.com. Go get that soap. I custom make, I deliver, and you can pick up. Check me out, www.mainroads.com. Have a good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.